Chances are you're watching this video because you're like me and you had acid reflux for quite a while, and it's taking a toll on your esophagus, and you're trying to find some way to help treat it and get some comfort back in your life. So this is something I came up with a few years ago that really helped me, and wanted to share it and see if it'll help you as well. My memory isn't the best, so I have a little checklist to kind of help me cover the points that I want to touch on so that I don't forget them. But of course, just in case, that's what the comment section is for. You can ask questions, and I do my best to answer what I can. So if you're dealing with the acid reflux, chances are you're probably at a point where your esophagus is probably raw, or it's been damaged to the point where there's like a numbness, or even worse, you're getting pills or food stuck, or like when you find yourself trying to swallow air or belching or something like that to kind of get the food down. I know I have found that I do that as well. Or you drink some water, and it feels like your esophagus is really stretching just to get the water down. And so hopefully this will help you in regards to getting that corrected. um, I came up with this idea about maybe 2010, trying to, like I said, find a way to deal with my own issues. I had reached a point where pills and food were getting stuck, and I wanted to find a way to treat the inside like the outside. So I started looking at ways that, or things that could heal similar to the outside. And so my research led me to two things back then, and that was calendula and manuka honey. And what you'll need, and you can order these online, probably find them in the store. This right here is the calendula that I have purchased, and then this right here is the manuka honey that I've also used before. And with the calendula flower, um, excuse me. So what you need is, say, a cup about this big. Um, put about 4 ounces of water in it. If you kind of see, it's pretty much up to the, in this cup it goes up to about edge, but just about 4 ounces of water. And then with the calendula, um, as you can see, so what you do, you just kind of squeeze it. You can put it back on the top and then let it up. And then this amount right here, if you can kind of see, that's going to be roughly 1 serving according to the bottle itself. So what you're going to do is place 2 of those into the water. And I forgot to mention, well, once you put the water in the cup, put it in the microwave, heat it up for about a minute, and to get it kind of get warm. Obviously, you don't want it boiling because that can actually impact the manuka honey. Um, as for the honey itself, I have just to kind of give you an idea of what you need. These, hopefully, you can kind of see the differences. Let's see here, like so this is a teaspoon right here, and this is probably middle-sized teaspoon. This is a larger teaspoon. So that way you can hopefully kind of see the difference in sizes, because this is the size. The middle one is what you'll want to go with, because manuka honey, while it is great, it can also be kind of well, no kind of to it. It tends to be expensive. So as I've showed you with the calendula, how much you'll need. With the manuka honey itself, what you're gonna do is you're going to get about, you want to get roughly about that much. You don't want it to be heaping or anything like that, because again, with it being expensive, you want to obviously maximize the amount that you're getting. So once you've heated up the water, you're going to add that calendula, and then you add about this much manuka honey to it, and then what you do is you stir it up, let the honey dissolve in. Now me personally, I'm not the biggest hot drink person, so I tend to use the spoon to kind of like treat it like soup until it cools down enough that I can drink it. And you should see, um, hopefully as soon as by that evening, well, I guess a better way to put it is that you'll have to, my recommendations for taking it will be you do 1 cup in the morning, probably 10 to 15 minutes before you drink or eat anything like that. So if you're a coffee drinker, that might impact what your normal routine. And again, at night you'll probably want to do it a few hours after you've eaten, maybe about 30 minutes or so before you go to bed, and that way that you can get as much contact with your esophagus as possible. Um, just touching real quick on the things, on the calendula, like I mentioned, calendula flower, it's an extract that comes from a flower, and it has well, both of the calendula and the manuka have parallel um, ways of healing, and so I focus mainly on the anti-inflammatory ways, so that way you can, and if you want, you can do more research as far as the other ways that it can help and treat, but this is just mainly focusing on the anti-inflammatory aspects because you want to help that esophagus reduce its swelling to keep food and things and whatnot from getting stuck. But like I said, calendula comes from a flower, the manuka honey. It's produced down in New Zealand and I think Australia as well. And as you probably know, some of you probably watching this will already know, some of you don't. There are rating systems when it comes to manuka honey. Now this one uses the MGO rating. What the MGO stands for is methyl glyoxal, and the other rating, which is probably the main rating, is UMF, which is the unique manuka factor. And you can do more research to get a better understanding because I'm trying to keep the video as short as possible. And what I'll do is also provide a link to the official UMF site so you can see the ratings and stuff for yourself. As you saw, this one that I used had a 400 MGO. Now, according to the UMF, that's about active 13. So, ideally, you want to go, if you either go with this brand. Now, this brand is actually more expensive. I don't usually, excuse me, I haven't used any other ones, and I went to the store and kind of forgot what I had researched and ended up just selling it for this one. But you should be able to also use something that's like active 13 or higher. But just my opinion, you probably don't want to go with something too high because then you're probably taking something that would be better suited for external use than it would be for internal use. Um, so um, as far as MGO goes, you're gonna probably hear both good and bad about it because with it being an active ingredient, it's one of the main things that will help you heal. But at the same time, there are certain things that you may see that it says it affects. And from what I've seen, it seems to be that MGO on its own is where it's harmful, but in situations where it's with the honey for example, you should be fine. Other than that, just still honey. So if there are certain allergies or aspects of your diet where you're watching your intake when it comes to sugars or honey specifically, just keep that in mind. You're not going to take this too long. At most, like this size that I have here, maybe will last 10 days. The goal, which may be tough because of the cost, will be to try to make it to 30 days. If not, that I can understand because I've never made it 30 days either due to past budgets. And hopefully you can at least get enough results so that you can get to where at least things are enjoyable again by the time you finish this bottle. So yeah, so like I mentioned about the rawness, numbness, and the pills and foods getting stuck, the healing is going to probably be in the opposite direction. It's kind of like you go from raw to numbness to food getting stuck, and it's going to go the opposite way. So that's just kind of can be something to be aware of. Because the first time I ever tried this, I took it and it burned or stung, and it stung pretty bad. And like probably like the first 3 minutes, well, excuse me, after about 3 or 4 minutes, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of regretting what I've done. But I endured it, and by that evening, I'd already began to notice an improvement as far as things moving through my esophagus better. So hopefully this helps you or some other people that you may know. I'm also going to have a link to my blog. What I'm doing there is I'm kind of using myself as a lab rat to try different supplements and see how they may help with ailments and illnesses that I'm dealing with, and maybe in turn help you. And I also have a what I'm calling a tip jar. So if, like I said, the things that in this video or in the blog helps you, feel free to leave a tip. So thank you, and I hope this helps you and or your loved ones.